We have no celebrations. And we have a superintendent's report.
We do. Thank you. A couple of things. Just distributed the enrollment update. Currently, we're serving 1,670 students. Remember, last time we met, we were up 10 students, and in the last 2 weeks, we're down 9. So we're back to 1,670 students, but still a very strong enrollment report. And if you look carefully, we've had a couple of fifth graders and a couple of sixth graders relocate, and a seventh grader, an eighth grader, a ninth grader, a 11th grader, and a 12th grader. So 5 out of the high school and 4 out of the elementary. And kind of surprising that we have that much movement going on this late in the year, but that sometimes happens when the weather gets good and people start relocating for different reasons. And the school board calendar, if I can call your attention to the pink sheet. Coming up a week from today, Tuesday, April 4th, there'll be another school board breakfast meeting with high school students, and we encourage any school board members that can go to come to that. These are really informative. The students, really, the ones that actually came and talked to us last time, were very open, and you do learn a lot. And we can either get together as a group or we can spread out a little bit. But 7:30, usually you're done by about 8:15 or so the students can go to class. And then later on that day, on Tuesday, April 4th, we'll have an operations committee meeting. A couple of the big topics we'll be talking about at that operations committee meeting. We do have our health insurance quote for the next year. And so the operations committee will be reviewing those quotes and to make a recommendation to the full board. We have a couple of other topics to talk about. And then on Thursday, April 6th, another big day. That's the first day of our school board strategic planning listening session. And we're asking the full board to meet at 4:30, and that will be held at the district office. And then later on that night, there'll be a town meeting for the public to attend. And we really do encourage people to contact the district office. We are in the process of writing down names of students and staff members and community members that want to serve on our strategic planning committee. Once again, we're looking for a collaboration group of about 25 to 30 people. And so if you have some interest in serving on that committee, please contact Judy at the district office. And then on Thursday, April 20th, there's a policy committee meeting scheduled at 4:30 that afternoon. And on Friday, April 21, is a retirement tea. And right now we just have a few teachers and I think one paraprofessional retiring. Very few people retiring this year, but the retirement tea is always a really nice thing for the board to come to and the community to come to honor those faculty members and paraprofessionals that have dedicated many decades of service to our students. And that's all I have.
Okay. One question for you, Joe. There was an article about last evening's city council meeting. There was some controversy about open discussion, and there was some reference to the school district's policy. So maybe we should just clarify what exactly is our policy.
Sure. Right now, our current policy, first of all, we really encourage people to have input. For example, I see one of our school nurses is in the audience tonight, and if we had a question to Nancy Backer, we would just probably go ahead and ask her. Or if she wanted to get up and talk for 5 or 10 minutes for something important. Seriously, what we would ask folks to do if they would want to bring something up in front of the entire school board. Here's a major difference between the way the city council operates and our school board. As you know, each of you serve on multiple committees, and we're very committee-oriented. And 90% of all the work a school board does is done in committees. And the committees, we spend many, many hours every month in committees. And the two big ones are staff welfare, which is our personnel committee, and the operations committee, which handles buildings, plant, and equipment. And those are two very important committees to serve on. We have the curriculum committee and a policy committee. And so a lot of the work is done in committee. And when people want to address the school board about any particular issue, we'd first of all ask them to come to one of the committees, because those are, those of you that serve on those committees are really the experts, because you've spent a lot of time studying issues. But if an individual still has a concern and wants to talk to the entire board, then they can contact the district office and we can put them on the agenda. And the main thing we want to do is make sure that the school board and our staff are not blindsided by something we've never heard about. The other thing I'll just remind people is that when we are in a public meeting, what we do require, there are certain things that we do not talk about. We do not talk about individual students by name, and we do not talk about individual staff members by name. Those are privacy issues and personnel issues that we take very seriously. And if there are concerns, to talk individually with us or come in and talk to the administration, that's important to do. But the bottom line is, we live in a democracy, and I've always felt, coming from my background, that the more that individuals can get together and communicate and talk and share concerns and share ideas with individuals, that's important to do. And so as the policy committee meets, we may want to take a look at our policy to make sure it's flexible enough to encourage that. Once again, though, just a kind of a reminder, if anybody really wants to get some input, they should probably volunteer to serve on our strategic planning committee in the next few weeks, because there's going to be 4 meetings that will be held, and that's a great time to learn more about our district and to give ideas.
That's an excellent point too, because we meet as committees like all the time, and that is a great opportunity for anyone in the public that has any input, inquiry, question, or maybe even just a hope or a desire to help. That's the perfect opportunity for that.
And just a reminder too, Dell, thanks for reminding me, but all of our committee meetings are also public meetings. And so we do advertise those. We do actually post those on our website. And those are open to anybody to come. And there's a number of times this last year we've had individuals come and sit through committees, and those become pretty open. We share information back and forth, and we learn a lot.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, and I think you're on again for finances.
I sure am, and I'm ready. First of all, the first sheet you have here are the transfers and wires for March 9th through March 23rd. And to just call your attention to a couple of items. First of all, the first one here, $5,283 coming from Pathways 2. That's money that's coming from the state of Minnesota for our early learning scholarship programs. And the big dollar amount there, that $866,000 IDEAS payment, that's a payment that's coming from the state of Minnesota. And we get paid twice a month. We get paid on the 15th and the 30th. We get electronic transfer of state aid into our budget, and so those are always some big items. And of course, we have $56,000 that came into the food service program through electronic transfers. And the next packet, if I can call your attention to the detailed payment register of the checks. The first one I call your attention to, there's no check number because this is a wire transfer to Commerce Bank, but we purchased 4 additional welders from the American Welding and Gas Company. And in the last 4 months, in fact, I worked with Sue Nelson today, we actually have purchased 8 new welders for the Welding Academy. 4 of them were additional welders, 4 were replacement welders for welders that had just grown too old. And so we now have 20 really top-notch welders in our Welding Academy, and so that's really good. And these 4 additional welders that we received, those came from funds. Remember, we appropriated $50,000 for the vocational programs this year, and that money is coming from that program. On the next page, there's check number 14028, and that is for Jostens Incorporated, and we are ordering diploma covers because graduation is just a couple months away. This year has gone by fast. And that was for $921. And going to the next page, the Fairmont Photo Press. This looks like a big ticket item, but all this money is reimbursable, $5,111. The Photo Press puts together a really nice booklet for these 10th grade students that come for the ACE Career Expo, and that is scheduled for next month. There will be 620 10th graders representing school districts from north central Iowa and south central Minnesota that come to the gymnasium of Fairmont High School, and they'll get to meet with probably anywhere from 70 to 80 businesses and industry folks, and then talk about different careers. So it's just a great opportunity for 10th graders to do that. The Perkins money is paying for 1,000 of that. The rest of that is billed back to the Fairmont Chamber of Commerce, and they pay for the rest of that. And those are the highlights of the checks. If you have any questions or comments, I'll try to answer those. Otherwise, I would ask one of the board members to move adoption.
I move to approve the wire transfers and payment of the March 28th, 2017 bills.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. No questions. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Dan?
Yeah, before we go any further, we'll go do our resolution for acceptance of gifts as seen in Appendix A in your packet. I'll introduce the following resolution and move for its adoption. Whereas CER received a donation of $320 from Avery Waytronics as compensation for hours volunteered to CER by Dave Adams, who is an Avery Waytronics employee. Be it resolved by the Fairmont Area School Board to gratefully accept this gift.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second.
Dave does a lot of volunteer work in the community, very active, and he helped put together the Fifth Thursdays through CER, which is a way that people new to the Fairmont community can get together. It's held at a different place, and it's about 4 times a year, anytime there's a Fifth Thursday on the calendar. And I've been to a couple of those. It's an outstanding program, and it's a lot through Dave's volunteer time. So thank you to Avery for supporting Dave's work with that, too.
Okay, very good.
It's a roll call.
Okay. And we'll take a roll call vote for that. Dal?
Aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. And Nicole?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. And no old business, new business. Okay, we have a memorandum of understanding to discuss. You wanna?
Do you want me to talk about this?
Yeah.
Be glad to. This memo of understanding originated because in the last couple of years, as it has become more challenging to hire certified teachers, what we've done to really encourage people to come to Fairmont is if they have experience in a previous school district and they have accumulated sick leave, we've honored some of that sick leave. I'll give you 3 examples. Angie Simmering used to be a special ed teacher through Southern Plains, and when we transferred her from Southern Plains to the Fairmont High School, we honored all of her accumulated sick leave days that she had accumulated in her previous job. And then 2 other teachers that we've hired recently. One was Brooke Schultz, and we hired her from Blue Earth, and we hired Terry Carlson from Austin. In both of those cases, I granted them half of all the sick leave days that they had accumulated from their previous district. And that was a nice way to encourage them and to recruit them to come to Fairmont. That was the good news. The bad news is there was really nothing in our contract that allowed me to do that. And it was brought to my attention, and in all honesty, I agreed very quickly that we needed to do something different. So we worked with the legal people from Education Minnesota. Jackie Baumgartner is our regional representative, and we drafted this memo of understanding that we're asking the school board to approve tonight, and then this will become part of our new contract when we negotiate the contract for the next 2 years. And basically, to summarize, what this allows us to do is this. If we ever hire a teacher who works in any of the districts that currently make up our Southern Plains Education Co-op, in other words, if we hire somebody from United South Central, Blue Earth, Grenada Huntley East Chain, Truman, Martin County West, that we would grant them all of their unused sick leave. So if somebody has 70 unused sick leave days, we would simply grant those when they first came into our district. For anybody else that's hired from any other school district, whether they're from Minnesota or some other state in our country, we would allow, the contract would allow us to grant them 50% of any unused sick leave. And once again, you know, we tend to do some things down here in Fairmont that are kind of trendsetters. And I've shared this information with some other colleagues of mine in the south central part of the state, and I'm convinced that this language will take off because there is a severe teacher shortage right now in this country. And as we are recruiting new faculty, especially those that are veterans from other districts, doing something like this is really nice. There's really no direct cost to that, you know, because we do want people, I do know that when my wife was recruited, for example, at Austin, they grant Austin teachers an additional 20 days of sick leave on top of the 15 days they get every year for any first-year teachers, so that they can come to Austin and get there. And it's kind of a way to just get them settled down with their families. And so that's the purpose of this memo of understanding. The Education Minnesota Fairmont has already reviewed this and approved the memo of understanding. They're simply seeking school board approval tonight.
Okay, very good. So on that note, I will make a motion to accept the MOU as presented.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And Dal,
Well, next we have Appendix C, and this we also met on and has been perused by all. And this is a memorandum of understanding. And I would move to approve the memorandum of understanding with the City of Fairmont's Police Department to hire a school resource officer for the period of 3 years, with the district's share of the cost being $50,000 per year.
okay.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
Dale, do we have a time frame on when that officer might be hired, or?
Soon. We can't, this is, we can't do it until this is all in place, and hopefully they'll be at the schools next fall.
Once we
Yes.
approve this, it'll start. Okay.
And that was one of the reasons why we're asking the board approval for it tonight, because it allows the city then to start recruiting
Yes.
and advertising in April. And I understand because of your civil service rules and regs, it takes a couple months?
Takes time, yes,
Okay.
indeed.
All
Yes,
right.
yes, it does. And that's our only issue, is that we want to have them in place for the next fall, beginning of the school year.
And can you update the community? Have you hired some additional police officers, or are you close?
We're
Can you-
close, let's
okay.
put it that way. We've had accepted, we have 2 that have accepted the offer, but they have not started yet. So it is a process. We do nothing fast.
Dal, this memorandum of understanding, based upon a previously existing document
Correct.
and with just some minor changes.
Yeah, really, it's kind of a template document with the language. We need it to have a 3-year life at least, so that it can get developed and get going without, in a year be done. And I think that's kind of fair to the school and to the officer that would be doing it. So that language was in there the last time that we had a memorandum of understanding with the school district for this same position, and we had a lot longer than just the 3 years. So that would be our goal, is that this is a permanent thing because of the value of it.
And one other point, I know that, there's been some questions from the community about, the role of the resource officer in the school, and I think the document addresses that issues of code violation or discipline within the school are handled by school administration. Issues that pertain to city laws, illegal acts are dealt
Yeah.
with, primarily by the police officer, but there will always be collaboration, I would hope, between the two.
Yes, and two, we want that, we want this to be a 3-legged marriage. We want the students, the staff, and the community to all be very happy and pleased with the outcome. We have no interest in jailing a bunch of people. We get enough of that just in the community, and we'll never out-arrest any issue. We know and understand that, and this is just a great opportunity to work with the alcohol, tobacco, other drugs, family issues. This can be an officer that is plugged in with all of the services in our community that are available and can help facilitate family needs way more than make any kind of a legal action. We really want this to be a community support and addition.
And, you know, and we've had great success in the past with our collaboration with the police department, and I'm looking forward to continued success. So, on that note, any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Motion passes. And
we-
Adele, again.
Yes, we have a request for a leave of absence, and we included the statute that governs that in the packets. So having discussed it and providing that, I would move to approve a 5-year leave of absence for Sarah Bonine, beginning with the 2017 and 2018 school year and extending through 2021/2022 school year.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And now we move to committee reports, and I will lead off with staff welfare. Two of the issues we've already discussed, the school resource officer, the sick leave memorandum of understanding, and the leave of absence. The only remaining item that was discussed was a summer reading program, which was brought to the Staff Welfare Committee by Principal Jim Davidson, Mackenzie Geiger, and Jamie Naraki. It provides for reading opportunities over the course of the summer for students. And the hours will be, how will parents?
They're actually listed, I think, in those minutes, but they're on different days or different weeks and different age groups, but the idea is that we'll be opening up the elementary library throughout the summer in certain hours, and there'll be a reading time for them and story hour. And
Yeah, I can
you can read those off.
give so there'll be open checkout for students to check out books, which will be available from June 19th through July 26th, Monday and Wednesday from 8:30 to 11:30. And then there will be a K2 story hour and activity from 10 to 11 on Wednesdays. Those are specific days, June 28th, July 5th, July 12th, and July 19th. And then the additional opportunity will be 3-6 book club, literacy, and Legos, 10 to 11 Mondays, June 19th, July 26th, July 3rd, July 10th, and July 17th. And the good thing is that this is being funded by a program, Rural Education Achievement Program. And so this will not use district money. This is self-funded through this program. You know, the individuals at the elementary are excited about this program, and I think it'll be a great addition to the summer opportunities.
It was very well presented, too. They had everything covered. So
Oh, yeah,
it was
it was all put together.
Yeah, it was a great meeting and very well done by them, so hats
couldn't
off
say
to
no.
them. No.
Couldn't say no.
Okay, and we have one more committee report, which is Southern Plains.
Yep, I went for Julie, and we met last night from 5 to 7. First of all, I'd like to recognize that Joy Reishi and Karen DeWar will be retiring this year. And while they're not Fairmont area school employees, they are spec employees, but they are in our district every day. And so we wish them the very best as they retire. Also, there's a spec color run on June 16th. And if you want more details about that, you can contact Southern Plains Educational Co-op. Also, Springstead was there with reps, and they were available to listen to the concerns and needs of the special education co-op. And we're looking at the first stages of looking at the facilities needs with regards to students. There's a changing demographic and increase in services needed throughout the co-op, and we're just beginning to look at those needs and what we as a district and the other 5 districts would like to see happen with that co-op and its facilities. And each district has one board representative that serves on the Southern Plains Education Co-op Board. And last night at the meeting, most all of those board members were there, and also the superintendents that represented those schools were there as well.
Okay. Any questions? Well, I think my agenda is done.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Nicole, Dan, okay.
And all those in favor?
Aye.
5:26. We're adjourned.
Are you done?
What's that?
Still gonna say no to them.